can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100,000.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs like the founders of P90X, Atari, today Ryan Lee, and many more, and how they overcome big challenges in life and business. Our sponsor today is Rise 25, which I co-founded with my business partner, John Corcoran. Rise 25 creates 100% outsourced VIP days for software companies or conference organizers to serve their highest level customers. So Rise 25 events have a proven track record of helping them get more referrals, increase retention with their highest level customers, and get more engaged new customers. We do them all over the country. We've done them in Austin, Chicago, Santa Barbara, San Diego, New York, Sonoma. So if your company sees the value of bringing your highest level customers together to connect and collaborate, go to rise25.com, message us, and see if your community qualifies. Today, I am very excited. We have honored guest Ryan Lee, who's the founder of Rewind.
Woo!
I needed that. Yes.
I'm back. This is my second time on the show. I'm excited.
I don't know if I've had anyone for a second time, actually, over the past almost over 6 years.
This is just 2 of 10. So
we're
just getting started.
I'm totally game.
My next company is called Rise 26. I don't know if you knew that. Because I know you have Rise 25. I got to go one above
the
you.
Next bar. Yeah, exactly. So you're founder of Rewind, and what I like to call it is the Superfood bar in its own category. The company can be found on rewindtoday.com. Ryan's got, you could check out the past interview, but he's got a 22-plus year health and fitness background, master's degree in exercise physiology, created the world's fastest workout video, many more. Anyone who follows Ryan know he's obsessed with living a good life with health, and his wife and 4 kids at the forefront of everything he does. This is the second time. Ryan, thanks for coming back.
Jeremy, I appreciate it. Anytime we want to do this and you want to have me on, I love it. I love everything you do with Inspired Insider.
Thank you.
I like the fact you dive in and you don't just talk about like all the glossy stuff, like, oh, tell us your marketing strategies. You talk about the real stuff because we all have ups and downs. So I'm excited to come on and share, especially now. I think it was about 2 years ago we did the last one, and a lot has changed since then.
It's been a while, and we will dive into, because the bar you can see here, I have it. It's actually, I'm not just saying this, it's really good. And I even have my patients trying it, and they're loving it also. And we'll dive into the ingredients, the packaging, everything. But I wanted to start with, there was a time when, I love what you do. You actually bring together great minds. And there was a time where I wasn't hearing from you as much. This was years ago. Mm-hmm. And something was going on in your life. What was happening?
Yeah, I went through a really rough few years between years ago I had a nutritional supplement company. It wasn't bars, it was just supplements and good products, and it was doing really, really well. We hit 7 figures a month in revenue, but things almost overnight changed because the way the company was structured, the way it was marketed, we were an affiliate driven business. So there were about maybe 10 people, 10 super affiliates who drove 99% of our business. One of them left, and when he left, he started a competing company. He basically took everyone with him. And we had just done a multi-million-dollar blanket order. So almost overnight, we went from like all this revenue to like it almost completely dropping. And now all of a sudden we're millions of dollars in debt. So there was that financial stress right around that time. My mom was diagnosed with lung cancer and passed away after about 2 months.
So sorry.
I started to eat more. Thank you. I had just filmed an infomercial, so I lost about $75,000. It never even aired. So I had all this mounting stress. My 4th child was just born. And then I started eating more, and I started getting pain in my joints, and that I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. So this was all over the course of a couple of years. Then my father-in-law was diagnosed with a brain tumor, had a massive stroke, then passed away. My brother-in-law had a stroke at age 46. So it was like it's like what
avalanche.
Else? Yeah, and I had just signed a big multi-year lease on this big office space, and now I didn't need anyone in there, and I couldn't get out of the lease. So it was like it was just everything just collapsing. So that was fun. So we had a good couple of years. But I was still, look, I've been a full-time entrepreneur. I haven't had a job since 2002. So I didn't have a choice, and my family didn't have a choice. I had to keep working and putting on a brave face. But it's funny, when I look back now at some of the emails I used to send and some of the marketing, it was really dark.
It was dark.
A lot
what
of
do you
cursing.
mean?
I was just, I'm not like a cursing guy. I was aggressive. I was attacking people. Even when I'd go to these events, I'd stay out till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and drink. And it wasn't me. I just became someone who I didn't like looking back in the mirror. So I needed to change.
It's all perspective. And, oftentimes when I listen to you come from that perspective, because you worked in a hospital setting, right? And so whenever I hear you talk about things, you always have a great perspective about you. So for people who don't know your complete background, just a little bit about your previous life. Yeah.
So the first 6 years out of college, so I graduated with an undergraduate degree in recreational therapy. So I was if people know this, it was a CTRS. I was a certified therapeutic recreation specialist. So basically, I did like play therapy with kids. I did sports and fitness. In the first 2 years, I was just in the pool, and I did adapted aquatics. So all I did was work with kids with different physical disabilities. So everything from spina bifida to cerebral palsy, spinal cord injuries. We had kids who had been burn victims, gunshot wounds, you name it. If there was a physical issue, we worked with inpatients. So they'd come, they'd get their therapy, and there was a school in the hospital. They'd get that all day. And then we would work for them from 3 till 10 at night and just be with the kids. I would tuck them in at night. It was great. So that was my career for 6 years. That's all I did. On the side, I was training clients. So I'd wake up early in the morning and I would train clients. I would train athletes. And I put myself through graduate school at night, and I got a master's in exercise physiology and started doing more training on the side. So I started to kind of blend the two. And that's when I started my first website at the end of 1998-99 to promote my sports training business. Yeah. So it was all kind of blending.
Yeah. As we fast forward today, I mean, you were mentioning all that stuff, the stress of life, and your health was suffering. Mm-hmm. What did you do to get on the mend? Because like you said, I think you sent an email and you had the same size pants you did in like 7th grade or something or whatever.
Yeah. So I'd had, my health started failing. So I'm like, well, I need to take care of my health. But like all things, I didn't really have a system. I went to one doctor, and it took probably 3-4 months for them to even diagnose it was an autoimmune disorder. I went to a podiatrist because my feet hurt. I went to a physical therapist. I went to an orthopedic doc, and none of them could figure it out until I went to a rheumatologist. So when I figured that out, basically I went extreme. No sugar, no gluten, no dairy. So basically I could just eat like celery all day. And I started to lose some weight.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. But there was no system. It was just, they basically said, you can't eat any of this crap anymore. I'm like, well, all right. And it was okay for a few weeks or even a month. And I'm like, I need to eat something. So then I would fall off and I try to get back, and it was just up and down and up and down. And about a year and a half ago, we went on vacation. Everyone always has that turning point. I took my wife and kids. It was in February. We went down to Florida, and I remember it was cold in New York. I put a pair of jeans on, went down, and then 7 days later I came back and I went to put the same jeans on, and they didn't fit anymore. I said, well, to my wife, what the hell's, did you wash my pants? She said,
What'd you do?
Yeah, what'd you do? She's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't even know you hit that. So I went, and then for some reason I had like a bad ear infection. I went to a doctor the next day, and they weighed me, and I was almost 200 pounds. I'm only 5'8". And then she said, well, you have borderline hypertension. And I'm like, all right, that scared the crap out of me. I don't know why that scared me so much. I'm like, oh, what is this, beginning of heart disease? And it was that day between not getting my pants and being sick, and I would never get sick. And the high blood pressure, and I'm like, never again. And I said, I need to figure out I need a system. I knew that was it, and it had to be simple. And it can't be, I could never eat this again. So the next morning I said, okay, I know morning routine is vital. I got to start the day off right. And I came with the trees. I have to win the morning. That was it. So I said, let me start with a bar, because I know I'm not going to make a smoothie every morning. I've tried that. That was one of my things I tried. And I just, there's fruit, there's frozen fruit, and my kids, like all of a sudden I have a banana, and I have 4 kids, and one of them will eat the last banana, and I have nothing, and all of a sudden I'm making a a smoothie with like a carrot. There's nothing else. It was awful. So I'm like, let me get a bar. Let me just have a nutrition bar so I can get the hell out of the house and just have a bar and it'll hold me over for a couple hours. Problem is, I couldn't find a good bar. So, Jeremy, you should have seen. I went to one of these vitamin shopping, GNs, and I bought like 15 different bars, and every day I would have one. And it was like they got worse and worse and worse.
Right.
Every one I tasted, the problem with, and I'm not saying every single bar company. There's some good. I know you've had a lot of bar companies on your program. There's some really good ones. A lot of them, though, problem is when you start getting into the retail stores, you have to keep price down, and they put fillers in. They have a lot of artificial sweeteners, and the artificial sweeteners have this little kind of chemical aftertaste. If anyone's ever had one, you eat it, you're like, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh. And the giveaway is usually, not always, usually if it has a picture of something like cookies or cake or ice cream or brownies or pie. If there's any picture of that, it's artificial. Like it's a lot of artificial stuff. And it also had, most of them have whey protein, which was dairy, which was causing inflammation. They have gluten, so the protein wasn't really good. Then I tried a green bar, and they all tasted like grass, like just lawn.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, they do. And that's look, I get what it is. I couldn't eat it.
You can't choke it down.
And fruit bars I liked because they taste good. They were chewy. Problem is they didn't have any protein. They had a ton of sugar, and I was hungry like an hour later. So I'm like, why the hell is there not a bar that has greens, that has fruit, that has good protein, that doesn't, but protein that's not whey, that's gluten free, that's vegan? So, and I couldn't find one. I'm like, And so after a couple months, but I started even eating these bars that weren't great, and at least I had the system, and I started losing weight. And then I started saying, well, why can't I just create one? I started trying to make my own stuff. Wasn't working. And then I talked to a couple different companies that make bars. I said, here's my idea. Here's my idea for a formula. I want these greens, these fruits. And then we just started kind of playing. I'm like, you know what? I think I could make a business out of this. And that's and it took probably 8 months of back and forth because the taste had to be good. As you know, you said you tried the bars, it tasted good. It had to be healthy, it had to be gluten-free, it had to be vegan, it had to have all this stuff, but it had to taste good. And it took us about 8 months, and I think we nailed it.
At what point did you decide, you're filling a need for yourself, that you could actually just, actually produce them for you and your family, that you are going to start a business out of it? Or maybe that's just in your nature.
Yeah, I think it's in my nature.
Yeah.
I was looking at, it started with a kind of a selfish thing, right? Like I'm like, why is there no bar that? And I created I'm creating this category called the Super Bar. Why is there no bar that does all these things?
Yeah.
So selfishly, I want to create it for myself. But then I'm like, well, if I'm having trouble finding good things, there's got to be other people. Maybe it's not 100 million people or 10 million or even a million. Maybe it's just a couple thousand people. But that's okay. For me, at this point, it's not about just the money. Like, of course, I want to build a profitable business, but the idea of creating something that's going to help a lot of people and it's going to be fun and I'm going to be able to get back into the health space, which was always my first love, was like, why not? Right? You live once. Let's do it.
Ryan, it's not easy to create a bar. I want to hear about some of the challenges in 8 months. I remember before even, I don't know, maybe it was 9 years ago or something, I actually thought the exact same thing. I was like, eating these bars are horrible. And so I went and actually got this company, had a box created for me. I bid into it, and my custom bar that I made, and there was one of the shells was still in the bar. I'm like, I'm not creating a bar. Forget this.
Yeah.
Like, there's too much liability. Like, it's hard to do. I wasn't willing to take that risk at the time, and so. This is not easy to do. I mean, it looks like, I could just slap a bar together. There's companies, but it's especially with the ingredients you have. Yeah. What are some of the challenges in the 8 months, or the things that maybe you didn't realize that you had to overcome? Well,
there's no perfect bar, right? Because no matter what you do, there's always going to be people who are no matter what, who are like, well, it has too much of this, or I don't like greens, or you
can't please everyone. Yeah,
you absolutely. So that's the first thing. If you're going to start a business or a bar company, you can't please everybody. It's all about figuring out who your audience is and just speaking directly to them. But a bar, because I've created 2 nutritional supplement companies in the past, bar is by far the hardest. because you have to figure out, what your market's going to be. Who is it you're going for, right? Is there a need? And if it's crowded space, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to differentiate? The ingredients have to be good. At least I believe they do. Because I'm not trying to appeal to like get in Walmart and sell it for 99 cents. I can't. The ingredients, I knew it was going to be a little bit more expensive to create than just putting together a bunch of garbage. But the hardest part was getting all of these ingredients and getting them the right nutritional profile. Because at first, the bar, one of the bars, the first ones tasted good, but it was just too much sugar. I knew it had to be under 10 grams of sugar. And then it didn't have enough fiber, so I knew we had to have more fiber to kind of balance it out. So getting all those ratios right, not perfect, but good, a good, clean, healthy bar. And so that's one thing. Anyone could do that, but then making it taste good was the toughest thing. That was, nothing comes close. And we knew it was good because our manufacturer, they've gone through thousands of different bars, and the person who was the person helping me with the formulation said, I got to tell you, we have the bar, and we just tasted the recipe and everything you put together. I ate the entire bar. It's like, and I never ever do that. It's that good. So I'm like, all right, I think we got a winner. And the minute I took a bite, I loved it. And I called Kate, who runs our operations, immediately and said, we got it. Like, I knew we nailed it. So, but challenge with a bar is inventory. Is there's a positive and negative. The positive is the negative. So the positive is that, well, here's the negative. You have to. It's not a product you can say, okay, I'll order 100 bars. It doesn't work like that. You need to order like tens of thousands of bars at a time.
Right.
So you're talking,
or you'll be paying like $6 a bar or something crazy.
It doesn't make sense economically. If you could even find someone to do it, and it'd be $5-6 a bar. So you have to do tens of thousands of bars, which is tens and tens of thousands of dollars. So if you don't have any money, you're not getting in. So there's that, which is not great for an entrepreneur who doesn't have a lot of funds, but it's good because there's a much higher barrier to entry, so there's not as many competitors. Anyone could throw up an ebook in 2 minutes. Anyone could even get nutritional supplements. There's companies that private label stuff. Some of them crappy products, but you could throw a label on. There's people who teach you stuff on Amazon, right? You throw a label on, call it, Dr. Weiss's miracle potion.
I have that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you look so good. Rise 26, baby. And then all of a sudden you're in business. You can't do that with a bar. So it's good. It's bad. There's a higher barrier to entry, but it's good because there's a higher barrier to entry. It's like a moat, right? It's a little tougher to get in. And then then there's product liability insurance, and there's a shelf life. If you have a really good natural bar, you can't have it sitting around for 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. Unless you want to have a lot of preservatives in it. And then even little things like right now, we, as of this record, we launched it in the summer, which not always the best time to launch, but when we're delivering, it's going to be sometimes in hot trucks. Yeah. And if it's shipped in the mail and it's shipped across the country, there's nothing we could do about that. So sometimes the bars can get a little melty. And if you're doing a bar that has any kind of chocolate coating, you're dead. So there's a lot of things to think about when doing a bar.
So there's three ways I kind of like, go ahead.
Yeah, one other challenge also, because we have so many different ingredients, we had an issue with pea protein. That was one of our protein sources. And all of a sudden, every supplier ran out of pea protein, so we were delayed 3 months. So that was fun. Okay, sorry, what was your next question?
Yeah. I kind of, when I thought about what I wanted to talk about with you, I kind of broke it up into a couple things. The evolution of the product, right? Because I'm sure what you started off thinking is not necessarily what we see here. And then the team, you always are really good at assembling and bringing together an A team. And also the packaging is unique. So I wanted to start with the evolution of the product. When you first, you came to this probably after many iterations. What did it look like in the beginning? And then what were some of the key changes you made? And I'll tell you what I like about it when you're done. And it probably, I'm assuming it kind of came into one of the changes that you discovered.
At the beginning, the bar was probably less. It probably had less total ingredients. It was a little bit more, probably a little bit more of a fruit bar. A little bit. There were just a fewer ingredients. I still wanted all the good stuff, but it wasn't quite as a full complex bar. But then as we started adding more stuff and adding more flavors, and especially the organic, I'm like, well, maybe the protein could be either pea or almond, but I didn't even think of cashew. So a lot of those little subtle, let's add this in, let's remove this. So it became a more complex bar, which in turn, what's really good about it is it has a little bit more flavor complexity, which is what we're getting. What we're finding, it's really interesting. The people who are, I guess I call them bar people who love having bars and they've tried every bar, love it because it's not a one note flavored bar. It has, it's almost like people who like wine. They'll drink, like, oh, it has this note, and oh, I taste taste this, and I taste the spinach, and oh, now I get the almond, and as you chew it, it tastes a little bit like a Fig Newton. So that was definitely one change, how it evolved from a little bit more. I knew I wanted a bar with some different things, but I didn't realize the complexity and all of the different flavor profiles coming together.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if for people who don't realize, so I'm looking at it, and there's spinach, kale, almond butter, cashew butter, strawberries, blueberries, cherries, pea protein, spirulina, green tea, chlorella, dates, quinoa, cocoa, and coconut. So talk about a complex flavoring group.
Yeah.
So
and you hear that, and you'd be like, well, how would it taste good? And it works.
What was some of the feedback you had, or some of the people who tried it had, to make it like this? I'm assuming maybe your wife tried it, your probably family tried it, your other people tried it.
At the beginning, a couple, the first few iterations, it tasted more like just almond butter. That was the overwhelming flavor. It tasted like I was eating a spoonful of almond butter. And I like almond butter, but I don't want to have that every day. So that was the biggest change, probably, when we lessened the almond butter, added the cashew, and added a little bit more greens and the green tea to round it out, and adding the blueberries and the cherries to give it a little bit more sweetness as well. But that was really the feedback.
That was the resounding feedback.
More almond. It was a little too almondy, and now it's more complex. And look, there are people, if you don't like anything that has any greens, like, at all, you'd probably be like, I don't know if they love it, and that's okay. You can't have every single person. I mean, there are people in the world who don't like chocolate chip cookies. I don't know how that's humanly possible, but there are.
I agree.
There are some freaks in the world who don't like warm, soft baked chocolate chip cookies. So that is proof, or apple pie. That's proof you can't please everybody.
One thing I love about it that I think is different. I mean, obviously the ingredients is unique, but also there's a crunch to it. Mm-hmm. Most bars don't have a crunch, and so I was looking at wow, this is good, tastes good, but it's got a crunch to it. And it's like, what is creating that crunch?
It's funny. That's the other. It's funny you mentioned, and I forgot to mention. That's the other big thing we get. People say, "I can't believe how good it tastes." I was really, really surprised, like pleasantly surprised. And the other thing is, they love the texture of it because it's chewy, but it's got a really slight little crunch to it, and it's probably a combination of the organic almond butter, the organic cashew butter, or even some of the quinoa. Like it's a combination of some of that, and it puts but it's not an overwhelming crunch, but it's a little bit, so it gives a little bit more bite to that chewy texture.
And I'm like, it's definitely some quinoa in there, because usually when I bite into something, it's got that crunch. I'm a little worried that there's something bad in there, because usually it's from something that's like filling it, like, something
like
that's
a wafer
less healthy. But but it's probably from the quinoa, which is really healthy. So I love what you've come up with the kind of the evolution of the product. And like you said, when you go out with tens of thousands of bars, you got to make it right, or it's just you're stuck with that, or you're stuck with it.
You're stuck with a lot of bars that have, there's a clock ticking. Like, we have an expiration date. The real key to a consumable product, whether it's a bar or skincare or anything like that, really, it's not getting the first order. You could probably get first orders. You could probably get people to try it. Yeah. The whole business is dependent on reorders. And if you don't have something that's really good, whether it's a really good tasting bar that delivers on its promise, or skincare that delivers on its promise, or water whatever it is, if you don't deliver on that, you can get someone to buy once, but they're not going to reorder, and your business is just a churn and burn business. We've only been live 10 days, and already we're getting reorders. And we have right now our box is 16 bars. We're going to actually make the next run 12 bars in a box. But
Why?
we're already getting reorders. I wanted to. I'm obsessed with having people feel like they get a really, really good value. And I think right now it's 16 bars because the retail's $3 a bar because it's expensive to make.
Right. It costs more overall.
Yeah, and I was concerned that people are like, well, it's $3 a bar, which is fine, but it's 16 in a box, so it's $48. And some people are like, well, I don't really want to spend $48 if I don't know what it's going to taste like. So I just feel like at least if it's 12 in a box and it's $3, it's $36. It's much. People are much more willing to try it.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm obsessed with consumer experience. Even you can't see here. This all actually. Let me show you really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, can you say hi? We do all of our this whole space. I mean, this is like my little. It's called Rewind, so it's like a fun retro brand. But we do all of our product fulfillment from here. We get all of our orders here. So the reason I did that, now, is it the most efficient? No. Is it better to just have it at some like warehouse next to UPS in Indiana? Yes. But they don't really care as much. Even with our box, what we do is every single order, we write the person's name right there, like right across the top. We get every order right out.
Jeremy,
every order goes out the door within 24 hours, even if it's on Saturday, whether it's Kate or someone else or myself coming in and printing out labels, and even though they don't do post office pickup, driving a couple miles to the post office and dropping it in there to make sure it gets out. People are getting the bars within a day. And we just want to have people be blown away because we want to treat them how we'd like to be treated ourselves. So we're really...
That's a big decision. I would imagine a tough decision because it's not the most convenient decision.
It wasn't tough at all. That's the thing. It should have been tough, but it wasn't. It was, even when I was talking with Kate, when I was coming up with this idea, I said, we've got to do our own fulfillment because I want to be able to write people's names and like, I want to have this space where we could go, we can play, we can do videos, we can have people in our space trying bars. I don't want to just run it out of like some random apartment, or just some random office building. So I wanted to have a real place, a real space. And plus, my wife wouldn't let me turn my spare room into this with all this kind of fun stuff in the background. So that was probably the driver of it, right?
That's the driver.
But it's cool because I have my kids. I have 4 kids, and my 2 oldest have been coming lately and working and helping, and I'm teaching them business and fulfillment. I started something called the Rewind Institute where we're working with inner city kids, and they're going to be coming here, and we're teaching them business and entrepreneurship. So this is like our fun play space.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things I want to talk about. I want to go into the audience and the brand because you're big on who you're serving, but talk about the Rewind Institute. I have a note because I really want you to talk about what you're doing with that and the inner city kids.
So I worked in the Children's Hospital for 6 years, and then I went on a little detour and I did the internet for like 6 months. One company bought my internet company back at that time for like no money. I had a lot of stock options, then everything crashed. So I went back to work and I became a gym teacher. And it was in the South Bronx in an area called Hunts Point, which was the roughest of the rough. Anyone who knows Hunts Point, it's a rough area. And this was an alternative high school, so it was the kids who couldn't even make it in the public schools. Almost every one of them had an arrest record, and this was really their last chance. So I was tasked with building their health and phys ed department from scratch, and it was amazing. And working with these kids was just incredible. Some really smart, bright kids who were just, born with like 10 strikes against them. Their mom had them when they were 14 years old, and their dad was shot and killed, and he had 17 kids, like craziest stuff you could imagine. They were in the Bloods or the Crips or the Latin Kings, so all this stuff. But I really, really loved working with them. So now that I've kind of come full circle and I have all these opportunities, I started volunteer teaching at a school. There's a city next to us called Stamford, and there's an inner city school. And this is the school it's an alternative high school. And what's funny is a guy I used to teach with, he was the social studies teacher. He now runs that school.
Wow.
And we've stayed in touch. His name's Mark. And Mark and I have kept in touch. I said, Mark, I'm starting this new company. I want to just come and teach your kids. I want to do volunteer work with you. So I've been going to their school and teaching entrepreneurship. And we do a big event each year called Freedom Fest, and I invited them to come, and they all attended the event, and they got to network with all the other entrepreneurs. So what we're doing now, Mark and I just met last week. We're going to do a whole program with their school where They're going to have assignments. They're going to do case studies like, okay, do a case study on Netflix and how do they market? How do they do positioning? What was their IPO, number and how much
valuable.
Of the stock? Oh my God. So they're going to do that for a month. We're going to do like 5 or 6 kids. There's going to be a teacher. We're going to see if we can get actual New York, Connecticut state credit for this. Then they're going to come here to this actual space and they're going to spend the day with me and I'm going to teach them real entrepreneurship. Like, this is how we do order fulfillment. This is how we do marketing. This is how we do position. This is what we did. And just give them an experience they'd never, ever get. Because people pay me a lot of money for that advice, and they're going to get that all for free. They have to obviously qualify, and we want people who are motivated. We want people who want to be here. And then there's going to be opportunities for them to actually work here. We'll give them paid internships. So, and every month we're going to have a different group, a different cohort of like 5 or 6 kids. And it's not just going to be business and entrepreneurship. Because that's cool. But it's going to be about life skills and showing them there's another way and there's other opportunities. And maybe they don't want to start their own business, but if they learn about social media marketing and they're a 16-year-old kid who really understands Instagram, why can't they? I mean, that's a really hireable skill. And I know if someone spent time with me working and they're running our Instagram, there's dozens or hundreds of companies that would hire them in a heartbeat. So I am really, I mean,
there's a lot of opportunity that they didn't even realize that is there probably.
They've only seen you either hustle, and I'm not talking hustle like Gary Vaynerchuk, oh, you work hard. Hustle, anyone who's from the streets knows hustle means you're a drug dealer. That's what hustling means, which is funny because every time I hear hustle, oh, you got to hustle. That's a drug dealer. You're a hustler. You're a drug dealer. So the options they've either seen, they're a hustler, which is a drug dealer, or you work at McDonald's or Walmart, you make $6 or $8, and that's it. I mean, that's really
big extreme.
What they've seen.
Yeah.
Right.
What were some of the takeaways they had? I don't know if they shared them with you after going, being exposed to that through your conference and your network.
It was funny. One of the days I was there was a group of about 7 kids, and one of the girls at the end said, "Wow." She's like, "You really motivate." She said, "Mr. Lee, I feel like I could do anything." And I'll never. Oh, I got goosebumps. That was really cool. Just seeing her light up. She's like, "Wow, I feel like I could do anything." And I said, "You can." Right? Like you can.
Totally.
Why can't you? Yeah. And giving these kids a shot, I mean, that's the way you change their life, not by just giving them money, right? It's giving them skills and the ability to change their life and have pride in your work and give them skills that are helpful in the real world that can accelerate their careers.
Yeah.
Or start a business. Why not?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And I look forward to updates on that. That's really cool. It's like invaluable for these kids and for the community. Talk about the audience. So you go after, you're always good also about going after a pain point, a need, and a specific audience or person. Like people don't like greens, this isn't for them. Who's the audience who is this for?
Basically, if you look at like some of these posters behind me, right? You see The Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Back to the Future. If you haven't seen those movies, we're not for you. I mean, that's it. That's my audience, right? If you're like, what's The Breakfast Club? We're not for you. If you can't name a character, if you've never seen Ferris Bueller, we're probably not for you. We're definitely for people probably 35 to like 55 years old, people who are just not happy with their health and they want to turn back the clock. They want to feel better. You had mentioned before with my story, like I am now down to the same weight and pant size I was in high school, which, I'm going to be 46. So never did I mean, I weigh less than when I got married 20 years ago. So I want to show people that you can do this and you could do this without deprivation, without saying I could never eat this again or I could never have I just want to inspire us, but do it also with my own kind of fun sense of humor and talk about nostalgia and talk about some of these records and, Van Halen and Meatloaf and Whitney Houston. Like, enjoy it because here's the thing and even the box, right? The box looks like a boombox. Like, I just want to recapture that fun before the internet, right? Like, we actually had lives before the internet, so. That's really who I'm speaking to. Look, we have people who are buying the bars and saying, my kids love them. My kids love them. My oldest is a competitive tennis player, and she has a bar every day before she plays. My 10-year-old daughter loves the bars. Every morning she has a bar. So kids love them too, but we're really marketing towards the parents. More Gen X, more people who get all my obscure references.
People want to get their health back. I mean, in that range,
absolutely.
That's when there's, unfortunately, your health starts to deteriorate a little bit more,
right.
or you don't heal as quickly as you used to.
Right. Your recovery is slower, but then you start saying, I mean, it drives me crazy when my friends say, I'm getting so old. No, you're not. You're not at all. Like, we can do this, and we can do it simply. And so it's incredible how your life changes when you just discover this and you start eating a little bit better and start exercising more and moving more, and just everything. Your relationships are better. Your career is better. Your business is better. Everything is just better. And if you do have kids, let's do what we can to have you live as long and healthy as possible. Why not? Right? Like, let's do it. So that's who we're there for.
How did you arrive at the packaging? It's really unique. The purple. Did it always start like this, or did it change? No, it's changed that's probably changed the most, our packaging. I always knew it was going to be Rewind. That, for some reason, why?
The name. I don't know. It was Rewind because it had that double meaning of rewinding the clock, right? Like turning back the years. And plus the rewind on cassettes, right? Especially if you grew up in the 80s, like cassettes, everything was rewind. VHS tapes, rewind. So that double meaning of that cassette and the visual of rewinding plus rewinding the clock, I'm like, that's the name. I didn't care what anyone said. That's the friggin' name. Come hell or high water, I'm building a company called Rewind when I came over the bar. But at first we were going to do like a chalkboard kind of coffee shop theme, and that didn't fit. And then we were thinking about colors. And I said to Kate, well, what about let's see what it looks like in purple. And then our graphic guy came up with purple, and immediately we're like, that's it. Like, that was the color. And then we have a great graphics person, and we spent probably more money on graphic design, packaging, and labels than we did on our initial run of products. And I'm saying it's that important, because if you don't, and we get compliments all the time between the box and the bar and the purple and the packaging and
totally.
It's really, really important that you nail your look and your feel. And I knew it had to just feel different and kind of cool and fun. I didn't want it to be like every other friggin' organic gluten-free product where it's just a white package and green. I can't out-organic them. I can't out-vegan them. But what they can't do is they can't out-Michael Jackson me, right? So
it's a first impression. They judge off of first impression even before they read all the ingredients or see it, right? And
we want people, and they love it when they get the box and they open it and they're like, wow, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We just want that feel. And then not drop the ball and follow up with them and, hey, how you doing? How you enjoying it? Because during our testing phase, and I was ordering bars from different companies, I remember we got bars from one company. I'm not going to mention their name. And the packaging was pretty cool, and it was like script and kind of, hey, it's homemade stuff. They sent one box, just an order with a packing slip, no note, no nothing, and they never, ever followed up. Not one email. They followed up. I got an email from them 4 months later that said, hey, 20% off sale. Like, man, so you spent all this great money and all this stuff in packaging? Yeah, total lost opportunity. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to email me every day and try to sell me something, but where's the relationship? Where's the care? Nothing. It was purely transactional. And yeah,
I want to talk too at some point. I want to talk about the team, but I love the free T-shirt. As soon as I had this out and I opened it, and a couple people were like picking it up and looking at it, like, I want a free T-shirt. How do I get a free T-shirt? I'm like, you can't take a picture with my box. I'm sorry. You have to get your own box if you want your T-shirt.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk about the marketing.
Yeah.
But before we do, I want to talk about the team, because the team is always making everything happen, and you're really good at assembling an A team. So who were you? What were the skill sets you were looking for, and how did you get this group together?
We have the best team. But I also know that you've got, especially to start, you have to keep things lean. I think some people get excited with the idea of building a business and they overhire, and they'll have 20 people. And I wasn't raising any funds. This is all self-funded. So I didn't want to go out and raise money and do all that stuff and give away 50% of the company. So I knew I'd start slower. The main thing, and if you've ever read the book, and of course I can't remember the name of it, where there was the visionary and integrator. I can't remember.
Yes.
By Gino Wickman.
Gino Wickman.
Rocket Fuel.
I had the guy on, the other guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Mark Winters, yeah.
Great book. So I knew I needed the integrator.
Yeah,
and
you're the visionary, totally.
Right. And it's Kate. And the key with finding a person, they have to be aligned with the mission. It's not about when you bring someone on, it can't be about here's your job role, here's your responsibility. It's got to be, are you in with this mission? And the mission is to build this great company that's going to change a lot of lives.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. So you have that one person who and Kate's the one who's more organized in operations and staying on it, because in the past I would try to build everything myself and it would crumble because I put it all on my shoulders. So now if we, like, even with the boxes, there was the box and then there's the UPC code and then there's, is it the right size and what's the production run and how do we, this guy sent us an invoice
so
for
many details.
2,000 extra boxes. Where are we going to store them? What's the fee? All of that stuff. It's not best use of my time doing that all day. But Kate is organized and we just go back and forth. And I say, here's what to do. And she does it and knocks it off the checklist. That was the most important thing. And then we have one person who's doing like just a lot of the kind of daily day-to-day tasks, helping out with little things, answering emails. And the rest of the team is pretty much project by project. So we have a graphics person and we pay him hourly. We have a tech guy, we pay hourly. So all these other people are just outsourced. I mean, we've found people on Upwork, we found people on Fiverr to do a little task here and there. We didn't need to hire a full-time graphics person. I want to keep the monthly bloat as low as possible.
Yeah.
It's not what you make, it's what you keep.
Totally.
And I'm okay growing slower and kind of figuring out and then hire what we need. Even with traffic, we're talking now to a media buyer who will start running our traffic. And I mean, our last company that we grew to 7 figures in revenue a month we never had a full-time traffic person. We had one person who was basically paid on performance. So
yeah, these days you can, really get specific skill sets.
Oh yeah,
when you need them.
Who just does YouTube videos. You could have and even video production. We have someone that came in, he was here for an hour and a half, filmed like 10 videos, then he left. And that was it. We didn't need a full-time video person. So
how do you know Kate?
Kate was actually, we've known each other for years. She was a customer of mine. All of my best hires have been customers of mine because they get me and what I do, and she understands my crazy brain and just kind of rides with it. She's laughing because you just got to hold on because I don't know where the hell, because every day is going to be different. But you have to, I really, really believe you have to find someone who's aligned with your mission and who has a good heart. Like even now, as we're starting to grow, and now, because all of this, we sold thousands of bars without spending a dime on marketing. This is all now just us and word of mouth. And we wanted to wait, till we really got the systems down. I didn't want to go full pedal to the metal until we knew, okay, here's shipping, here's the labels, here's the process, here's the post office. Are they picking up all this stuff? Now we could start accelerating. And even now we're going to start hiring people to help with fulfillment. I go to this coffee shop down the street and there's a woman who works there, and she is the most amazing customer service I've ever seen. She remembered immediately, hi, what's your name? Right, nice to meet you. Every day she greets me with a smile. One time they forgot my sandwich. She said, here's a card, your next one's free. My next hire, I don't care what is going to be her. Like, I don't know if she knows anything about marketing or social media or anything. You could learn that stuff, but you can't learn soul.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I appreciate you highlighting that mission. I've definitely made that mistake in the past that's in my head, and I'm not sharing enough with staff or people, and that's really at the forefront of your mind and getting them on, make sure they're on board with that.
Everything, even everything we talk about, we'll end the emails, let's change some lives. Remember, this is all about helping other people, because the more products we can get out there and help people and get them in their system and change their life, I mean, that's what it's there for. It's never just about, we need to make X amount of money. It's never been about that.
Speak to some of the cool stuff you do with marketing. You're a marketing mind within the box and then also outside of the box, but you have a couple of these things inside the box, these inserts.
Yeah,
cool.
Right now, and we're going to be testing, and that's another reason why I love doing our own fulfillment, because we can go to the printer and in an hour have 1,000 of these to test. So as of today, when they get a box, there's 2 cards. One, it's here's how to have the bar. again, with that other bar I
this one?
ordered, they just gave you a box of stuff. And they're like, eat them. Ours is, it's part of a system. Like, have this bar every morning. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. It's part of a system. So that was important that people are, and I'm going to work on my next book all about this system. So that's one. And the other one is to give maybe some incentive for social sharing.
Yeah.
This promotion is take a picture with the box, tag us at hashtag RewindBoombox, and on your next order, we're going to give you a free T-shirt with it.
Yeah.
Just as a way of thanking you. And people are starting to do it. So those were 2 fun, really low-cost things. And we're going to be experimenting a lot with, we're working on a really cool powdered protein. Really, really cool. It's going to blow people away. That's going to be ready in about 8 to 10 weeks. And we're going to do a unreal promotion with that one. Here, another reason why I want to set up a studio is we're doing live videos. We're still experimenting with that. We're going to take these videos and put them everywhere. So we're going to do taste testing. We're going to do workshops in here. And I'm not trying to be everywhere. And another one of our main marketing things is really what I'm doing right here with you is going on podcasts, connecting with people who have a good audience with my potential market and being able to talk and share, because I know what my strengths are. My strengths are getting on and just talking off the cuff, no teleprompter, just real heart-to-heart conversations. Because I know if people listen to me for 45 minutes, they're either going to love my message and me and be into the rewind, or they're going to think I'm the most annoying guy with a New York accent. Either way, I'm going to get some kind of response. And it's cool. Either way, right? So even right after this, I have another podcast interview. So I'm starting to reach out to my network and doing 2 or 3 podcast interviews a day, and not trying to reach everybody, but reaching the right people. And even if they don't buy a bar, even like, you know what, that's cool. I can do that. I can have 1 bar a day and they have a bar they like, then that's fine too.
It seems like you made a deliberate decision to keep everything in-house and not go on Amazon or any other channels. Is that the case right now?
I'm still exploring all options. Right now, everything's with us. I keep everyone, all my colleagues saying, you got to be on Amazon, and we're exploring it. I'm still not sure.
I'd just like to hear inside your head a little bit. So what's kind of the reasons, or what are you thinking? Maybe there's a timeline on it, maybe there's not. I don't know.
Here's why. And there's advantages and disadvantages.
Right.
We have, like, I went into our local. I live in New Canaan, Connecticut, very, very wealthy neighborhood, and I was talking to the person who owns a bagel shop. Like, oh, can we? We'd love to have your bar. So I put them in there, but I don't know. I don't really want to play the retail game. It's a tough game to play. I know some people you've had on can scale it. We're not a mass market scale product. You have to try it first. Right. Even the packaging looks cool, but people can
not
go,
yet. I don't know.
So
with certain audiences, I think it really resonates. Yeah.
So right now we're just trying to kind of control it. And as I said, relationship is everything. And the minute you get it other places and they could find it on Amazon, we don't know who they are. Maybe some will come back to the site. I'm sure a lot won't. Amazon doesn't share the data with us or who customers are. Yeah. So I can't follow up with them. I don't know if they're doing well. I don't know if if they're having the bars. So I'd rather keep the growth a little bit more controlled. No, I know every single person who's ordering. Even now at this point, that person, that's their second order. It's obviously not going to always be like that, but I like just kind of taking my time. I'm in no rush. I want to build this and build this right.
Yeah.
So
I see you be an interesting channel, from personally, like medical offices. I don't know.
Chiropractors that have asked. Yeah. 2 customers are chiropractors, and they said they're going to put it in their office and see if people like it. Our first company that did really well, the idea behind it is because I had such a big list of personal trainers at the time, was we're going to have all these training studios selling our products. But then when I actually did it, what I found was they moved like no products. And they took up like 90% of our time and effort versus, the 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 super online affiliates who had listed 600,000 people who one email could sell 3,000 products versus the studio owner will sell like 1 bottle every 2 months. But they would take up all our time. Well, what do you think? Do you have handouts? Do you have inserts? Can you do an online thing for our client? And It's
a
Pareto.
time suck. Yeah.
It's not even 80-20. It was 99-1. And I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to learn from my mistakes and just focus on kind of the bigger stuff and what's going to move the needle more. And it's much more efficient for me to be on a podcast like yours that can reach thousands of people and get to kind of see me and understand versus, being in a studio, just the box here.
Yeah.
Again, I'm okay with controlling. And we actually had one guy just buy a couple boxes wholesale, and he's going to see if he could sell them. And we're willing to work with people and kind of experiment. Yeah. The one thing you can never get is too set in your ways. Like, I have a pretty good idea, but as an entrepreneur, man, you got to be agile. You just got to move and go and see what happens and never get too tied to one thing. Don't get emotionally involved. We're just going. We're going to see what happens. We're going to have some fun.
What about tell me about the A-Team.
So the A-Team, yeah, because I've been in this industry for so long, I have so many good relationships. Every single person I asked to be on the A-Team to kind of get behind the bars, every single person said yes. And we have people who train celebrities and, Dr. Oz's trainer. And we've had my friend Dwayne who trained the 49ers, Dana who trained the New York Yankees. We have all of them who just are behind us. So it's pretty cool just to be able to send one email like, Ryan, I'm in, whatever you want. And you do that from always, trying to do the right thing and treating people well. Don't burn bridges. It's stuff we learned in kindergarten, Jeremy, but so few people do it. Everyone's about the quick dollar. How do I make money now? And they screw everyone else over. So just do the right thing. So I want to hear what's next, what's on the forefront. You mentioned there's another product coming, but I want to just tell people, check out rewindtoday.com. And he's got a fun video. I'm sure you should sign up for if they have any email list, if Ryan has any email list, you should be subscribing to it because I've been doing emails on there.
Okay, yeah, I get them. And he just, whether it's life, business, health, it's always fun. And that's kind of who you are, right? And the video on there is fun. And I'm sure there's going to be more fun videos to come. So check out rewindtoday.com. And I can vouch. I've tried the bars, and they're delicious, and they're very healthy. All the ingredients are great.
Appreciate it.
Next, what's next? Like right now, I mean, it took 8 months to get this out to people. Right. Now it's out to people. What's next?
Now we just keep going. Now the fun begins. Now we market, we promote, we are going to work on our second product, which is going to be that real. I don't want to give away too much now. I was actually just on with the manufacturer before. A really, really good drink. So that's going to be next. That's probably about 8 to 10 or maybe 12 weeks away. Just got to make sure the formula's right and everything's set. So that'll be next. And we're just going to. Well, it's going to be a focus line. We're not going to have 1,000 products. It's going to be a few things, only things that are really good, only things that I would personally take or have my family and friends take. And, now we're promoting. We're going to start doing some paid traffic. We're going to get on podcasts. We're going to do some workshops. I've just been on 2 TV shows. We're going to do some more media. And, we're just going to change the world. That's it.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Simple as that.
That's
one bar at a time, one person at a time. So.
Changing the world one bar at a time. I like that.
Ryan, I know you have another meeting in a minute, but I just want to thank you. It's always a pleasure, and it's an honor to have you on. Everyone check out rewindtoday.com. I just want to be the first one to thank you personally.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Have an amazing day, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Cool.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like $100 grand.